Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to build a grow light station, and this clear box will serve two purposes. We'll talk about that. We'll go over all the parts and pieces and the assembly. Before I get to that, I want to let you know that I have a new collection of seeds at my seed shop called Grow As I Grow. It's at www.therusticgarden.com. I'll put all that information in the video description. But it's a collection of seeds that you can buy, and I'm going to grow all of these this year. You can grow as I grow, and the key to this is I'm going to be seed starting all of these. I'm going to take you through the whole process of getting them started indoors, taking care of them, transplanting them, getting them out to the garden, and you'll be able to grow what I'm growing through the whole season for 2019. Now, when I originally built this 3-4 years ago, the LED bulbs, the CFL bulbs, were a little bit more expensive. So I want to go over the parts first. You want to get a container. I recommend you get a clear container because if it's clear, it will serve two purposes. We can use it indoors, get our seeds started, grow our transplants, and then as the plants have to go outside and get acclimated to the sun, because when you grow things indoors, they're not used to the UV rays of the sun. So if you grow something really well inside of here, put it outside, the sun's going to burn and damage the leaves. So you slowly have to transition anything you start indoors outside. So one way you can do it is using a clear box, because we would just basically put the seed starts outside in a tray like that, and then you put the box over them. The plastic cuts the UV rays and it gives them some time to get used to the sun, and you always want to acclimate your plants over about a week's time. Now, the size of the container, you want to make sure, this one I'll let you know, first of all, it was $8.99. It's not expensive. It is 16 inches deep, about 29 inches wide, and it's 10¼ inches across. And you want to get a box that will fit your seed tray. You don't have to use a seed flat. You can just put cups in there or containers in there. I'm also selling these flats at my seed shop in the different containers that I'll talk about as we go through. But the whole key is you want the base, the bottom, to be wide enough for your seed starts. And it will look something like this. I start most of mine in the 6 seed packs, and that will hold 72 seed starts. And if you think about it, when you go and buy tomatoes, peppers, herbs, whatever, they're anywhere from $2, $3, $4 a plant. You can save a lot of money doing this. So this container is about $8.99. It comes with a lid. I'll show you the build in a few minutes. Let me get these out of the way. Now the main things you're going to get is you're going to get a clamp light. You can get these at Home Depot, Lowe's, or you can get them online at Amazon. If you look in my description of the video, I have a new shop with Amazon. It's called an Amazon Influencer Shop. And you'll be able to see all the products I use this year in 2019. And if you want to pick them up through Amazon, you can do it that way, or you can get the prices and the names of the products. But you want a clamp light, and it looks just like this. This was $9.86. This is a smaller one. This was $8.21. We'll talk about them in a second. So when I first made this box, like I said, I made this years ago. Only the CFLs were available. They were kind of expensive. Then the LEDs came out. So right here, 2 LED lights, $4.43. That's not expensive. 4 of these were $9.94. Let me talk a little bit about the numbers that are important. When you look at these CFLs and the LEDs, the numbers you're going to see are 100-watt replacement right in there. You can trust me, it says 100-watt replacement. That means this is what it's replacing from years ago with the incandescent lights, the ones that burned hot. So these are not 100-watt bulbs. You have to look closer, and this one is a 15-watt bulb, and this one is a 23-watt bulb. And the reason being is you want to match the true wattage of the bulbs, 15, 23, to the rating on the clamp light. So when you turn this clamp light over, now it's hard to see on there. Let's see, I think I put it on here. It says, or took this off, it says 150-watt max bulb. So the old incandescents would burn hot, 150 watts. That's what you'd have to worry about. These aren't going to get hot with the LEDs. They'll get a little bit warm with the CFLs. But this is a 150-watt clamp light. This is a 15-watt LED. This is a 23-watt CFL, so that means these can go safely into this because the numbers are lower than the rating, and this one is rated, it would be on here at 60 watts. Now you want to look for two factors in your bulbs. It's harder to find the high numbers that I recommend in the 4-foot lights. The next video I'll be doing is how to set up your grow light stations on shelves with the 4-foot fluorescent tubes and LED tubes, but this is for the grow box. So the lumens rating is the intensity of light. I typically recommend 2100 lumens or higher. On these types of bulbs, it's going to be hard to find them at that level. So this is 1600 lumens, 6500 Kelvin, and this one, and you always can look on the back, it tells you, this one is 1680 lumens, and it's 5000 Kelvin. So lumens is intensity. You want to get to 2100 or higher, and Kelvin is the type of light. This is daylight, and that's what you're looking for, is a daylight bulb. And you want to get as close as you can to 6500, but it will work, you know, with 1600 lumens or higher, 5000 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. And the way that we adjust for that is the lights are going to just sit a little bit closer to the plants, and that will give them more intensity of light. This way they don't get leggy, and will leave the lights on longer. I will link the video that talks more about kelvins and lumens to this video, so you can, you know, understand that a little bit more. The other tip I have is when you're going into the stores, you're looking for the 100 watt equivalent or higher, because as you go up in the bigger number, 100, 120, it usually means the lumens are higher, so the light is more intense. You'll see these at 40 watt, 60 watt, 100 watt equivalent. The 40 watts just don't have enough lumens. Alright, let's get to setting this up and creating the build. So the lid is what we're going to use to hold the light clamps, and you can set this up however you want. You can use two lights clamped like this. One would go right there, another one would go right there. You could use the larger light right in the center. I like the clamp lights because they reflect the light down and they're really easy to use. And you can just set it up however you want. Again, if you're just starting, you know, maybe 12 tomato plants in containers, this light would be perfectly fine. If you're doing more, you might want light to be dropping down on this side, light dropping down on this side. But if you can only afford one of the clamp lights, put it right in the middle, and you would just rotate your seed starts around. And it's pretty easy to do. For instance, if this was in here, you would just move these to here. The ones that are there, you would move there, and you would just rotate any of the other cups that you have around. So you can really work around whatever your budget is. Now again, this was $9, this was maybe $8, this was $4.50, this was $10. Not too expensive. These will last 5-10 years easily. So what you want to do, and we're going to set this up, let's see, we'll set it up for 2 lights actually. So you're going to turn it on its side. This light is going to clamp right into here. So you're going to cut out a circle so that this will pop out the top. It also will let out a little bit of heat, and then you're just going to cut a slit along here so that this part pops through. Let me do that and I'll show you what it looks like. It's real easy to do. You can use a sharp knife, you can use scissors. These lids cut really easily. So this is basically what it looks like when it's done. It's going to vary a little bit because our lids and our containers are going to be different, but you're going to cut a hole right in the middle. I'll show you how it sets up because I want to show you how to use the clamp light. When it's loose and it drops, there's a nut you can tighten. You're going to put the spine right up through the top, and the clamp is going to go flat right here. And as you cut across here, when you get to the end, you're going to do maybe a ½ inch line this way and cut it just so that the clamp goes in much easier. You're always going to have the cord on the outside of the box. I recommend you plug this into a timer, and then you can set this box to be 16 hours on to start when your seeds are germinating. You want maximum light while you wait for the seeds to break through, and this way they're hit by light and they won't grow tall and leggy and be kind of spindly, you know, and somewhat sick looking. After the lights are on for 16 hours, after they germinate for like 5 or 7 days, you can start cutting the light back. So you can see how the light is kind of, you know, drooping over there to the left. There's a nut right there, and you can just, see if I can do this with one hand, pop it back through, and then you tighten the nut to whatever angle you want the clamp light to be at, so that when it's flipped over, it stays nice and straight. And then you can adjust it as you wish by tightening that nut and put whatever angle you want on there. I'm going to drop in the other light clamp right in here just to show you what that looks like, and then talk a little bit more about how you would use this to get your seeds started. So here are the two clamp lights hooked up to the box, and I want to just show you, this one is lower. That's about where you want it for seed starting. You know, you really want it an inch or two over the seed starts. Soon as they break the surface, you want them hit by the intense light. This way they start doing what they're supposed to do, and if it's too dark, they keep growing upward trying to reach for the sun, and that's why they get spindly. Now you can see it's pretty much below the whole line here, so that it drops down closer to the tray. You can also, the smaller one is like this, it's up higher. That might be where you're at after it's growing for the plants are growing for 2 or 3 weeks. You can just pop the whole clamp above the plastic slit that you put in there. And I do have one caution, just a recommendation, don't get hurt. Put the lid on here so that when you use the knife, you're plunging into a place where your leg isn't. Don't put it on your lap like this and try and cut. And don't pull the knife towards a hand that may be sitting there. Just be very careful. This does not have to look pretty. It just has to be effective. I'm going to plug it in and show you what the lights look like and talk about the seed start trays. Alright, this is the grow light box turned on. Let me just show you the lights. The one on the right is the CFL. I think the LEDs burn brighter. They're less expensive. If you can find those, that's what I recommend getting. But you can use either one, the CFLs or the LEDs. And they're going to just be set up just like this. Your seed starts will go underneath them. You can change how the clamp sits in there to raise the light. You can drop it down lower to get closer to the seed starts, or you can pull it up over the slit so that you sit, you know, inches above your growing transplants. One of the important things is to keep in mind watering. I like to use the black trays. You can find them at my seed shop. This way you can remove the whole tray, dump out excess water. You can start your seeds in these 6 cells, which I also sell at the seed shop, along with the 4 cells. What's the difference? Well, when you're growing tomatoes and peppers in the smaller cells, you're going to have to be transplanted up into bigger cups. If you want to let them go longer, you could use the bigger space here and maybe not have to transplant them into larger cups. It all depends on how many plants you're growing, your growing season, and the timing on getting your transplants started indoors and then getting them outside. But there's a couple different options. You can even just get rid of this if you just want to get some 4-inch pots or use cups and just start, you know, your 6, 8, 12 tomatoes and pepper plants that way, and they could just sit right in there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out the description for my Grow as I Grow seed collection and my Amazon influencer shop to see where you can get all the different parts I used in this video. Thanks so much for watching, and the next video is going to be on setting up grow light stations on shelves using the 4-foot bulbs. Thanks again.